Okay, so on a recent road trip with Ryan Wakefield from Church Marketing University, he and I had a phenomenal conversation about the future of ministry, digital, and kind of the new rules of church marketing. So one of the things that I wanted to do in this video, just to kind of switch it up a little bit, is kind of let you guys in on that conversation. Now, Ryan said some things that were absolutely melting my face off. We had some phenomenal conversation, and we got stuck in a bunch of traffic, so we turned a 4-hour trip into about a 6.5-hour trip. So we talked the entire time. It was a blast. So what I'm gonna do right now is basically take everything that we kind of talked about on that road trip, put it into this video, and we are gonna talk about the new rules of church marketing coming up. All right, what's up, y'all? My name is Chris Abbott, but all my friends just call me Abbo. And if you're new to the channel, we put out brand new videos every single day, 5 days a week, helping pastors and church leaders with marketing, social media, ministry, and everything having to do with reaching new people for Jesus. So what I want to do in this video is just kind of dive in and outline some of those things that we talked about that I think are going to be really, really important to the church world moving forward as we explore this new kind of hybrid digital world. So let's dive in. Okay, now the first thing I am absolutely pumped about, okay? This is totally a Ryan Wakefield thought. He taught this to me, and oh my gosh, is it perfect. Okay, now I call this the Ryan Wakefield Church Growth Homepage Test. I know that's a mouthful, but here's why. He has this theory, and I have so far seen it be 100% accurate, that thriving, growing churches have at least 10 smiles on their homepage. Okay, so what you could do is you can actually go to the homepage of any church out there, and if they are a growing church, they probably have at least 10 smiles on their homepage. So I actually went and looked at a couple of churches that I know are kind of stagnant or even in decline and are not growing, and they all had less than 10 smiles. Some of them had none. And then I went to several churches that I know are actually crushing it because I kind of wanted to prove them wrong. This seemed crazy, right? But I'm telling you, at every single website that I've checked out so far, this is dead on. In fact, I went to a church that I know is healthy, thriving, and growing, and I counted 23 smiles on their homepage. So I encourage you to put your own homepage to the test. Check this out and see if you have at least 10 smiles. If you don't, make sure that you start adding some photos, right? Like a smiling family of 4, that's 4 smiles right there. So add some pictures of smiling, happy people. But I'm telling you, the Ryan Wakefield Church Growth Homepage Test is legit. You need to have at least 10 smiling faces on your homepage. And if you start to look around, I'm telling you, you're going to find out this is scarily accurate. Is that a word, scarily? It's accurate. All right, next up, your digital location is now more important than your physical location. Now, things have been kind of trending this way for a really long time, but the thing about COVID is that COVID basically took everything that was happening, right? And, church decline and this move towards digital, and it basically just fast forwarded the world 5 years overnight. So things were already trending towards digital, but definitely because of COVID, it's kind of sped up the world, kind of fast forwarded everything 5 years overnight. And now your digital location is way more important than your physical location. So what we're gonna do is break down a couple of pieces of your digital location, and Ryan has a really cool way that he kind of explains each piece of the digital location puzzle. So let's dive into that, and I'll walk you through exactly what that looks like. Okay, so your digital location is more important than your physical location. The first thing is your website itself, and I think most of you guys, this is probably the first thing you thought of, right? This is kind of like your digital hub. If we were comparing this to your physical location, your website is kind of like your building itself. Okay, and then you have social media, and social media is kind of like the lobby or the foyer, right? This is where conversation is happening. This is where people are building relationships, right? They're interacting with each other. They're interacting with you as the pastor and the church leadership and people on your team. This is where connection and conversation are happening. Search engines. Now, search engines are kind of like the highway that goes by your digital location. So one of the things in church growth for years, right, it's always good to have a great location. And if you can, you want to have a location right off the highway because everybody can see you, really easy for people to get to your location. Well, search engines are kind of like the digital highway that goes by your digital location. So basically, the higher up you are on page 1 of Google, right, the closer you are to the highway. And the deeper you are in your search engine results, like Google, Yahoo, Bing, and all the other search engines out there, the farther you are from the highway. In fact, 91% of people never go past page 1 of Google. For a number of years, I actually had a web design agency, and one of the old web designer jokes was always, where's the best place to hide a body? on page 2 of your Google results. So you definitely want to make sure that you're on page 1, right? Search engines and where you're showing up in search engines is really important. This is kind of like the digital highway that runs right by your campus. Next up are your reviews. So your Google reviews, Facebook reviews, Yelp reviews, right? Reviews are kind of like the cars in the parking lot. So if you're driving by a physical location, right, and you see tons of cars outside of a church one day, you think, man, what church is that? Like, why are there so many cars there? Right? It's kind of like the same thing whenever you drive by 2 restaurants. One of them is a ghost town and the other one has a line coming out the front door and wrapped around the parking lot, right? The first thing you want to do is go pull in there and get in line because it's like, well, it must be good if everyone is lining up, right? Same kind of thing whenever you have tons of cars in the parking lot of your church. And so your reviews are kind of like the digital cars in your digital location. The more reviews you have, the better reviews you have, and the more places you have those reviews, the better chance you have of people finding you and showing up to check out your church for the very first time. Okay, and finally, photography is kind of like the windows into your church, right? So the same way that somebody might come up to your physical location and take a look in the windows to see what your church looks like on the inside, that's exactly what your photography does, right? These are just windows into your digital location, windows into what your church looks like. So every single potential visitor wants to know 2 things, right? Number 1, who's the pastor? And number 2, who are the people? And the best way to answer that question is with photography. Okay, so remember Ryan's church growth homepage test, right? The reason smiling people are so important is because it's a window into your church culture, your mission, and the DNA of who you are. Okay, so before I get to my last couple of points, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're coming out with brand new videos every single day, 5 days a week. And if you hit that subscribe button and then hit the little bell icon, then you'll get notified every single time we drop a new video. All right, so one of the things that Ryan actually started talking to me about, which I had never considered, and I'm telling you, has blown my mind, melted my face off, and I haven't stopped thinking about it since, is this idea of church growth and kind of how we've built this 21st century church. Right? So if you think about it, what happens most times is we think about the adults first. Right? So we build a church trying to reach adults, and we talk about what type of families we're trying to reach and what type of people we're trying to reach, right? And then all of the youth programs are kind of on the outside, right? So it's kind of like the center is the adults, and then you have kids all around the outside. Now, the interesting part is he asked me, he goes, man, what in life is like that? If you think about every single family out there, it's exactly the opposite, right? Think about your sports games. So my son plays competitive soccer, right? Which means we're at soccer games all the time, always constantly traveling to soccer games, right? And so you think about a soccer game, right? Like there's the kids on the field and then all the parents are in the stands around that, and everything revolves around the kids on the field. The same thing is true with basketball. It's true with cheerleading. My 6-year-old daughter has been doing gymnastics and crushing it, by the way, right? And so it's the same thing. Like we go to her gymnastics practice and literally sit on the sidelines just watching her the whole time. And so Ryan brings up a great point. In order to reach the next generation, we actually have to shift the focus from adults to the kids. We should actually be building our churches the same way the community is being built, right? Families are being built around the kids. We're constantly going to kids' games, right? We're going to school plays and we're going to recitals. It's always the kids in the middle and the parents around the outside watching, right? But in church, we kind of have it backwards where we have everything being about the results and the kids are kind of the afterthought that's around the outside. Ryan's premise is that if we can flip that and we make everything about the kids, right, we're going to be able to get the adults and the teenagers and everybody else. And I think it's a really interesting thought. He explains it really, really well. In fact, he talks about this quite a bit inside of the Church Marketers Facebook group, which if you guys are not in there, I would definitely invite you to come check this out because he has some incredible things to say on this topic, but I at least wanted to mention it here because I'm telling you, he melted my face off and got me to completely rethink how we're doing ministry based on this conversation. And finally, I want to talk about the law of the list. Now, if you guys were at the church marketing conference and you caught Tyler Smith from Text and Church, he had an incredible session where he actually talked about the law of the list, right? Why it's so important to be growing your list. And specifically when we're talking about your list, we're talking about your contact list, which is names, emails, and phone numbers. Right? The reason this is so important is because this is an asset that we own. And so basically your list are your relationships. So if your list isn't growing, your relationships aren't growing, right? So we should be constantly doing everything that we can to be growing that contact list, right? And getting those names, phone numbers, and emails so we can continue to follow up with people, build on those relationships, and invite them out to church. Now, Ryan said something about this that I absolutely love and really made me kind of rethink things, right? So what he was saying is that you should always be using your rental properties to build the properties you own. All right, so what are your rental properties? Where it's all of your social media, right? So your Facebook page, your Instagram account, right? If you have a YouTube account, maybe you have a podcast, right? Your website, all of these are rented properties, right? At any point, Mark Zuckerberg could come in and decide to shut you down and you would lose all of your followers, right? All of your Instagram followers, all of your likes on Facebook and everything that's going on. YouTube could shut down your YouTube channel. Apple could shut down your podcast, right? And you would lose everything. So these are basically rental properties. They're platforms that we're building, right? And we want to continue to engage people there, but they're rental properties. Since we don't own them, we need to move those people from our rental properties to the properties that we own. So what's the property that we own? Well, it's our contact list and our email list. So we need to figure out ways to collect people's information and move them from our Facebook page or from Instagram to our website and ultimately onto our email list, right? As we're continuing to grow that contact list, that's something we can always have. You can always go into your email service provider or your text and church account and you can download a CSV file of your entire list and you can take that asset wherever you go, right? That's a property that you own. You will always own your email list. You'll always own your contact list, but all the other rental properties should be serving that. So you should use Facebook in order to grow your contact list. Now, if you want to see a great example of exactly how to do this, I want to invite you out to the Church Marketers Facebook group on Facebook. So I'm an admin in there along with Ryan Wakefield and the entire CMU team, a bunch of pastors and church leaders, and we're constantly having conversations like this. But what you can do is we're actually going to show you an example of exactly how to move people from your rental properties to the properties that you own simply by joining that Facebook group. So we actually have a secret 100-day campaign that you're going to get after you join the Church Marketers Facebook group. So you can literally steal that, swipe it, and use it for your church, and we'll show you exactly how we're using a rental property to move people to a property that we own. Okay, so make sure to jump into the Church Marketers Facebook group. You can click on the link in the description below, or you can simply go over to Facebook, type in Church Marketers, and jump into the group. All right, well, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed that little window into Ryan and I's road trip down to Dallas. Hope you're having a phenomenal day, and we will see you soon.